Hello and welcome back to the video on amino acid titrations. In my previous video, I spoken about the applications of finding the isoelectric point, and in this video, I'm going to be looking at the triprotic amino acids, or the amino acids who have a R group which are also ionizable in nature. So which are they? In this worksheet that's available for free of cost to download, you will be given a question where how many ionizable side chains are present and draw their structure and circle their ionizable groups. So in total, there are 7 ionizable groups that are there. Which are they? They are aspartic acid, glutamic acid, that's the 2 acidic amino acids, histidine, arginine and lysine, the basic amino acids, and tyrosine and cysteine. So in total, these are all the triprotic amino acids. I'll just write it down. Triprotic amino acids. All other amino acids are diprotic in nature, meaning they have only 2 groups that can either accept or donate a hydrogen ion, whereas in these amino acids there is a third functional group which can accept or donate a hydrogen ion. So now coming to the circling part, all these if you're looking at aspartic acid, it is this OH group over here, which the carboxyl group end, which donates a hydrogen ion or gets deprotonated. Same for glutamic acid. For histidine, it is this amino group over here. Similarly for arginine, it is the one which is double bonded, the amino group in the terminal. In lysine, it is the terminal amino group. And in tyrosine, it's the terminal hydroxyl group, which will donate or get deprotonated. And finally, in cysteine, it is the terminal thiol group, the SH group, where it gets deprotonated again. So in total, these are your triprotic amino acids. I would advise everyone to learn the structure or at least know what functional group each has in the end, so that we can easily find out the isoelectric points of these amino acids and in these questions where they give the polypeptide chain in total. So now I'll just give a brief introduction on how you can solve for these amino acids. So if you look at this question over here, find the isoelectric point for D. D is aspartic acid, and they had given the pKa values. Now if you remember from my previous video, you would know that pKa1 always corresponds to the alpha carboxyl group, pKa2 always corresponds to the alpha amino group, and pKa3 always corresponds to the R group. So now let's begin. For aspartic acid, we'll start with the alpha carbon. Attached to it will be your alpha carboxyl group, your alpha amino group. Then over here we'll be if it's D, we would be having the we would be having the terminal OH group over here. Now and a hydrogen group. Now we can do one of two things. How we usually go about from a previous video, we would start by taking up all the amino acid in its protonated stage. That means we'll be adding a hydrogen group to all of them and assuming the pH is at its lowest over here. Second step is to arrange the pK values given into an ascending order from lowest to highest. So if you're doing that, first would be pKa1, which is at 1.88. Then if you look at these two, pKa3 comes second, pKa3, which is around 3.6, and finally pKa2, which is around 9.6. Alright, so the next stage. Now we are going to start increasing the pH such that it slightly increases from below pKa1 to above pKa1. So if you remember from my previous video, there are 3 criteria that you have to remember. If pH is less than pKa1, the group gets protonated. If pH is greater than pKa1, it gets deprotonated, and if pH is equal to pKa, it gets 50% deprotonated and 50% protonated. So let's begin. So first we're going to cross the pKa1. That means the alpha carboxyl group will only get deprotonated. So in this stage, so over here the net charge is, if you calculate all the charge, it is +1 from the amino group and nothing else. So the total net charge in this stage is +1. In the next step, if you go, the carboxyl group, alpha carboxyl group gets deprotonated because you increase the pH above pKa1. The remaining groups still remain in its normal state in OH and amino, NH3+. So what would be the total charge over here? It would be +1, -1 and +0, that's equal to 0. So we know our Zwitter ion stage. Now either we can stop it over here and take the pi value by taking the pK values before and after the Zwitter ion, as I had mentioned from my previous video, or we can continue for understanding the concept better. So now from this, let us continue adding more base and increasing it above pKa3. Suppose the pH now is pH 4, that is above pKa3. In this case, the carboxyl group will get deprotonated. So what will happen? The COO minus remains because it's already crossed its pK value. The carboxyl group will now get deprotonated to give O minus, and NH3 remains the same. So what would the net charge be? It would be plus 1, wait, I'll just draw a line, plus 1, minus 1 from the alpha carboxyl and minus 1 from the functional group. So in total, this would lead to minus 1 as your charge on the structure, amino acid structure. And from here, if you continue increasing the pH above pKa2, we would finally reach a structure where COO minus, C double bond OO minus, because you have already crossed the pK values, and even the amino has crossed the pK values. If the amino group or the bases get deprotonated, as I had mentioned in my previous video, they will always get a net charge of 0. So in this one, we will have minus 1 from the two acids. So this will give you a net charge of minus 2. So now if you're looking at your PI calculations, I hope it's on PI calculations, we will be taking the pKa1 here, pKa1 plus pKa3. Remember, it's pKa3 here because it's the one before and after the Zwitter ion state. And then dividing it by 2 as it's the formula. So the value will be 1.88 plus 3.6 divided by 2, which would give you a sum of, just a moment, 1.88 plus 3.6 divided by 2, that will give you a value of 2.74. And this is the isoelectric point for aspartic acid. Now you can ask me, I had forgotten to mention this, if pH is equal to pKa, what would happen? Now I told you it's 50% deprotonated and 50% protonated. What does that mean? Suppose my pH is equal to 1.88. Alright, that means it's exactly equal to pKa1. That means 50% of the COOH will be in its deprotonated stage and 50 will be in its protonated stage. So let's look how it will look like. So 50 will look like this and 50 will look like this. So how do we get the net charge? We'll get a net, so how? First we'll take the plus 1 from amino group. In either case, it's always going to be plus 1. Plus 1. And then looking at our carboxyl end over here, 50% will be in its deprotonated stage. The charge is only 50% is in deprotonated stage, which charge is 0. So 50% means 0.5 or half of 0 plus 50% is in its negative state over here. So we'll be getting 0.5 into minus 1. So what would the net charge be? It will be plus 1 from your amino group always, plus 0.5 into 0 is 0, and 0.5 into minus 1 is minus 0.5. That will give you a total net charge of plus half or 0.5. Understood? I hope it's simple for everyone. That's simply how you do it. Suppose I'll give you again an example. If I brought it all the, so that's how you can do it. Similarly, you can do it. If you bring it up all the way to pKa2, how would it look like? So if I look at pKa2 in this criteria, already we are having from crossing from here to here, we are already having 2 minus 1s from the carboxyl groups, then plus 0.5 positive, that's plus 1, plus 0, because 0.5 into 0. So we'll be getting it as minus 2 plus half, that's equal to 2 to the 4 plus 3 by 2, minus 3 by 2. So I hope you understand. This is for aspartic acid. But this is the concept of how you would calculate it. You would take all the other charges and do 50% protonation and deprotonation for the only group that is being targeted here. Alright. So now I'll quickly go into the next one, which is lysine. Over here I'll give you a trick. Usually when you're doing the PI, you don't have to draw the whole structure out for lysine. What you can simply do is, you have to draw the COOH and the NH3 terminal, positive terminal, but instead of drawing this big structure for lysine, NH3 plus, what you can do instead is just directly draw the NH3 plus. I'll do in my next. First I'll just arrange all the pKa ones First pKa1, then pKa2 is lower than pKa3 and pKa3. So now what will happen? First pKa1, if you cross, the COO terminal gets deprotonated, the other stays the same. See, look over here. I can just directly write this as NH3+. Why? Because in this can all reduce down to NH3+. That's all we are looking at. We don't care about the carbon bonds in between it. And then NH3+ remains the same over here, the alpha carb, and here. So the net charge begins with +1 that's equal to 2 +2, because from the alpha amino group and your terminal amino group from your functional group. Then if you cross the pH, what would happen? It would be +1 from the 2 amino groups, -1 from your carboxyl group. That will give you a total charge of +1. If you keep increasing the pH, you cross pKa2, what would happen? pKa2, remember, always corresponds to your alpha amino group. So you have COO- already crossed, NH3+, because we still haven't crossed its pK value, and NH2. So what does this imply? We are at -1 + 1, that will be equal to 0. So this is our Zwitter ion state. Again, continue our pKa3 value, go to COO- as it's already crossed. Finally, our R group also gets deprotonated, NH2, and this is NH2. So, and this is always H over here too. So what is the net charge over here? It is just -1, because only here from the carboxyl group is being providing any charge. So our Zwitter ion is here. The pK value before and after the Zwitter ion is pKa2 and pKa3. So Pi is equal to pKa2 plus pKa3 divided by 2. That's equal to, I'll just do a quick calculation, give me a second. So that will be equal to pKa2 is one second, pKa2 is 8.95 plus 10.53 divided by 2. So your value will be 9.74. And this is the Pi for lysine. I hope you are able to understand the concept of this. Feel free to ask any questions down below. I'll be glad to help them. Please go over solving this many times. You'll be able to understand, especially for when pH is equal to Pi. I hope this helped for you. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you for watching. Bye.